6, a helping hand with your land.
Neil from Essex here. We have a short conversation today about some of the things to look at if you're considering a used tractor. Take a walk with me here around this L3800. We'll give you some of the tips and tricks that we use when evaluating the value of a used piece of equipment. So some of the very first things we're going to look at when we look at a piece of equipment is how well it was maintained. A lot of the places that we can see that are in the loader itself. So if you come down here with me down to the loader pins, we're going to look around the loader pins for grease. For the most part, when we look at machines, we don't necessarily want to find something that's too clean, believe it or not. A machine that's too clean is almost more concerning than one that's got dirt in the right places. In the case of this one, if you look right down here at this pivot pin, you'll see that there's grease around it that's coming out the sides, and that's great. That's what we want to see. It means that a customer had been taking a grease gun and greasing these pins, making sure that they weren't wearing. So if we take our loader here and lift it up in the air, you'll see that I can take this, wiggle it left and right, wiggle it up and down, and not get any kind of slop or bounce in these pins. This tractor has about 600 hours on it, and the owner took really good care of it, and so there's really no detectable slop in here at this point. But you may go look at other machines. I can think of another one of these that I had that was exactly the same model, where a customer didn't grease it at all and was really hard on the loader and actually wore these pins so badly that they could fall out of their holes. So you could see a huge amount of variation in the same hour of machine, just depending on whether a customer greased these at every 10 hours like they're supposed to or not. Another thing that we can check on the loader is if everything is straight and true. If we eyeball down the sides of the machine here to make sure that the arms don't seem to be tweaked one side or the other, and we also want to check our skid steer quick coupler as well. So if we come over here to our coupler and pull our handles up to release the pins out of the bottom of the bucket, we're going to check and make sure that everything is straight, nothing's tweaked on the coupler, or that the pins were broken off. Sometimes what we'll see when customers don't couple their buckets onto their loaders properly is that they can bust the tips of these pins off down here on the bottom. That would happen from the pin not dropping down and engaging fully in the quick coupler, and would also tell us typically the customer's banging around down here with something. Every once in a while too, you can see one of these where somebody was running without the bucket on and may have crashed something into the loader and managed to tweak this coupler one way or the other. So taking the coupler off of the bucket, eyeing up the pins and making sure nothing was tweaked tells you whether everything down here is straight and true and in good condition. So another thing that we can check here on our loader is to run through all of our functions, make sure everything works properly, and then use the loader to pick the front tires up off the ground. That's going to tell us that we don't have a cylinder that's leaking internally or a valve that has problems. So we just start the machine up here, curl the bucket back around, and then lift. You can see we can pop the front end right up in the air, set that back down again, and run through our functions there. Okay, now this one's also going to have a float function on it. So if we come up and we press the whole way forward, we've got a detent that lets the bucket drop to the ground, and a speed dump position that would be back here to the side and down. So everything seems to move and function just like it's supposed to. If we move on here to the tractor itself, we're going to pop the hood and go around here and check our fluids underneath. A couple things that we want to watch for down here again is just the general care that was taken on the tractor. So when we look at our radiator screens, we never like to see grass and crap packed up against this thing, meaning that the customer wasn't taking care of their machine. If we check the radiator level over here, we want to make sure our fluids are sitting right about full, that we don't have a leak or something in there. We check our battery terminals and make sure that there's nothing here that's badly corroded that's going to cause a starting problem. There's a couple of things here that we're going to check on the engine. First thing we'll look at is down here at the filters. This guy was really meticulous and cared about his tractor. Replaced them with Kubota oil filters, which we always like to see, and he actually wrote the hour meter that he changed his filters at right here on the filter. It did the same thing too with the fuel filter as well. Kubota's original filters from the factory are typically painted gray. Once a tractor passes 50 hours is when its first major service is due. So if we go look at a really low hour trade-in, like a 200-hour machine, if we see a gray filter on here, that means the customer never did their original service and is something that would typically cause us some amount of concern. Beyond that, we're looking for clean filters, typically with numbers on them and stuff that we can compare to the hour meter to tell whether the customer was keeping up with their maintenance or not. When we check the dipstick for the engine oil right down here, usually we're going to do this twice. We'll check the dipstick once before starting the engine to get an idea of where the engine oil level is at, if it's where it belongs. And this one's sitting right at the full mark. And then we'll start the tractor up and check the dipstick a second time. And when we do that, what we're looking for the second time is any kind of froth or anything on top of the engine oil or on the stick that could indicate that there's a problem in the head gasket that's allowing antifreeze down into the engine. Moving along through the engine here, we're also going to check our air cleaner. And if you can't tell, we're kind of going through just a lot of the daily maintenance stuff that you would do on any machine that hopefully you own, right? So we're going to open up the air cleaner, pull out the element, and make sure, was the customer changing his air filter like you're supposed to. So if you see one of these that's really packed with dirt, again, it's going to be something that's going to cause you some concern to maybe dive in a little bit deeper and take a closer look at the health of the engine if you're seeing these daily maintenance things that just weren't taken care of. On the tractor itself, we're going to run through all of the tractor functions to make sure that everything is working like it should, particularly in the area of the transmission and the brakes. So when we start the machine up, we're first going to test the transmission and see if the transmission is good and strong. So in this case, I'm going to push down the brakes and take the hydrostatic pedal and drive against the brakes on purpose. And you see I can stall the transmission out, stall the tractor. It would be concerning if I couldn't do that, right? If the transmission doesn't have enough power in order to stall the engine out, it means it's not healthy, it's slipping and losing pressure in some manner and could indicate that you've got bad hydrostatics. Once we've made sure that our hydrostatic or gear drive transmission is in good shape, we're going to go through the rest of our transmission functions as well. In the case of this tractor, we've got a low, medium, high gear selector in our ranges. Generally, we'd want to start the tractor and drive through each one of those ranges to make sure that all the gearing is working properly. We would also typically want to turn on the PTO. So in this tractor, we'd start the machine and engage the PTO and just check that the rear PTO is spinning like it's supposed to. So really, we're not doing anything more than sitting down on the machine and working the tractor through each one of its functions to try to detect any kind of mechanical problems. If we hop around the back of the machine, we could check around a 3-point hitch as well and make sure that we're not missing anything. So in the case of this machine right here, I traded it and I missed a top link apparently. So we have our lower links down here at the bottom, but we should have a top link up here at the top of the tractor in order to attach the top portion of our 3-point hitch. Fortunately, in our case, you can pick these things up fairly inexpensively, but we're missing 3-point hardware back here, and so we're not, at this point, able to hook up an implement to the rear. In hydrostatic tractors, we always want to put an eye on our transmission fluid level as well. Most machines, you're going to find a dipstick back here at the rear of the tractor. In case of this one, it has a sight glass up in where your feet sit. Always making sure that, particularly in hydrostatic tractors, that the transmission level is good and full up where it's supposed to be so that the transmission hasn't been running dry. So keep an eye on that. Another thing that we'll look at too related to the transmission when we walk into somebody's garage, we're always looking underneath the tractor to see if there's any puddles on the floor, letting us know that there's a gasket or something that's leaking underneath the machine. Having to replace a set of tractor tires can be really costly on a machine like this. To put new tires on all the way around would cost nearly $2,000. So we always want to go around and put eyes on the tires, looking for things like big chunks that may be missing, or if we look at our sidewalls and stuff, if we start to see a lot of checking and stuff in the sidewalls, it could mean that the tires are dry rotting and aging. So those are the kinds of things we're looking for, making sure it's not flat, well inflated, not checked, and not having a whole lot of chunks out of it. If a tractor is equipped with a rollover protective structure, a ROPS, we always want to put eyes on the ROPS and make sure that the customer hasn't drilled any holes in it. This structure is actually a certified structure, and if we take a drill and drill holes in it now, we can no longer be confident of its ability to stop the tractor from rolling over. That creates a real liability concern for a dealer or anybody who's reselling a tractor, because if that machine were to roll and something with the structure would go wrong, you could be found at fault. So if a tractor is equipped with one, we always want to make sure it's there. Periodically, we'll see people with tree branches removing the ROPS. We want to make sure we always have it, and we want to make sure that it hasn't been modified in any way. So you can see this gentleman here, when he put a work light here on the back, chose to do it with U-bolts and zip ties as opposed to drilling holes through the ROPS to put his lights on. So really intelligent move. And typically, if we see that, a missing roll bar or one with holes in it, we do figure into the cost of a trade the expense that it takes to replace and put a new roll bar on the machine. So those are some of the things that we look at when evaluating a used tractor. If there's anything that you could add to our list, let us know down in the comments below. We're always looking to sell equipment. If we can help you with a purchase, give us a call at Messick's. We're available at 800-222-3373. We're also available for any parts or service needs you may have as well.